Karen's birthdays, it's time for Karen's birthday. Karen's birthdays, it's time for Karen's birthday. Karen's birthdays, it's time for Karen's birthday. Karen's birthdays, it's time for Karen's birthday.
All right, well, it's time to take things home with Karen's birthdays. Karen's weekly look at the birthdays of those who make the movies. Take it away.
Karen's birthdays, it's time for Karen's birthday. Karen's birthdays, it's time for Karen's birthday. Karen's birthdays, it's time.
All right, well, because I finally saw Top Gun, I'm going to wish a very happy birthday to Mr. Anthony Edwards, who turns 54, but can he play anywhere from a nerd to a really rich nerd?
Huh? Do explain.
Because he played Goose in Top Gun, as we all know.
Cha-ching.
Yes, but then he did some commercials and that kind of thing, and
Cha-ching,
he went after Top Gun. This is what was written on IMDb, which kind of made me giggle. He found his flight to stardom at the same time as Top Gun was what brought Tom Cruise, kind of propelled him into super stardom.
And really, if you map their careers, it's kind of identical.
It's kind of the same.
It is.
So he rode this idea of reprising the role of Gilbert in Revenge of the Nerds 2. Nerds in Paradise, right?
Nerds
Still not making a lot of money. Went into Summer Heat. Still not making a lot of money. Mr. North and Miracle Mile, though they weren't very successful. However, then he went on to make ER. Where eventually, between 1994 and 2008, he made $35 million.
American?
Yeah, million.
14 years on the biggest show on the network.
So,
coins, all in coins.
all in loose change that somebody found in the couch.
Yep.
But
Big
whenever
couch.
you first think about like Top Gun, and then Tom Cruise goes skyrocketing into fame and fortune, and he does all these like little goofy movies, whatever, and now you look back and he's very happy, he says, on how things turned out.
Yeah, but
Because he
Miracle Mile
consistently
is
worked.
great.
Oh, it is?
Yeah, and Gotcha is fun as well.
And Miracle Mile is kind of it's a classic thing, like, isn't it? Is it what would you call it?
It's an end of the world indie film.
Yep.
Oh,
there it is.
that's cool. They said here it wasn't all that successful, but I've never heard
wasn't.
of it.
No.
It doesn't.
However,
mean anything.
it was good.
$35 million is
Million.
what Tom has in his sofa cushion.
Yeah, that's true.
That's
He's
what he has
jumping
on
him.
Oprah's couch.
Yeah.
That's what he left when
He made that for
That's
Road
what
Nation.
he
wonder
fell out of his
jumping on it.
pants when he was jumping on Oprah's sofa.
But I just got to tell you,
$5 million fell out on Oprah, and even she didn't know what to do. So someone picked
Oh
this
my
up.
God! Everybody in the front row. Yeah, she's jumping.
she didn't notice.
Could someone
and
pick
you
this
get
up?
$35 million, and you get $35 million. Now, here's something fun on IMDb. It says he had a relationship with Meg Ryan in between the years of 86 and 87.
Ooh.
And he was in Top Gun in 1986. Just saying, good for him.
Them's
He
prime
had
Meg.
right?
Prime Meg Ryan.
Prime Meg Ryan. She was super cute in that, and he was able to get in there and tap that. Good for him. And this is a fun fact just because we all want all of our facts to be fun.
I insist that my facts be fun. I don't know about you, Kurt.
Oh, yeah.
I get all my information from IMDb, so somebody in his camp has put it up there. It says here that he spends every Thanksgiving with Helen Hunt.
Aww.
What?
What?
How?
That
Why?
doesn't make sense,
What?
right?
No, it doesn't make sense.
Why would you put that on IMDb?
And I've heard she really doesn't enjoy it.
No, she doesn't.
He just shows up at her house.
What was the
I should have
cheesy?
looked at her IMDb.
Yeah.
Anthony Edwards won't leave me alone.
Just won't come. Stop coming to my house. Leave.
What's the
Every
flight
Thanksgiving.
line? I think anyone could submit to IMDb at this point. I had lunch with Helen Hunt.
Yeah. That's right. Because his rise to stardom, his flight to stardom.
Went to school with Red Skelton. There it is. Put that up there.
You know, also in one of his very first roles was playing Stoner Bud in Fast Times at Ridgemont
Oh yeah,
High.
Yeah.
I remember that.
No shirts,
Eric
no
Stoltz.
shoes, no service.
Do you know that character?
Eric
Yeah.
Stoltz was in there too.
Eric Stoltz, Anthony
and
Edwards,
Judge Reinhold.
and well, no,
No.
but the three stoners were Sean Penn, Anthony Edwards, and Eric
Yeah.
Stoltz, and they walk into the mall and they take off their shirts
Yeah.
as soon as they
Really?
sit down, or the restaurant, and Judge Reinhold. That's the
they're
scene.
like 15.
Yeah.
They're kids.
Yeah.
He dropped out of college. He was going to school for an MA in theater. Doesn't really hurt him, I don't think.
No.
35 million. Let's say that one more time. Let's go on to wish a very happy birthday to Mr. Kevin Hart,
Oh.
who
Hey.
turns 37. And he can play anywhere from a stand-up comedian to a guy who has to stand at an Apple box. Oh, that's
To be a
horrible.
comedian.
To be a comedian.
Wow.
What happened there? I absolutely adore this guy. I think that the summer of Kevin Hart and Ike Barinholtz continues with Central Intelligence and now with The Life of Pets. He's going to be fantastic in it as a little fluffy bunny. Oh my gosh, all of his sound stuff, so funny. Great voiceover work. But you know what? I'm just going to play a fun little game with you guys. I want you to tell me whether or not Kevin Hart was in one of these movies.
Oh.
All right, so you guys strap on your thinking caps because this was harder than I thought.
right.
He's in things that you just wouldn't expect him in. Jumanji,
You
everybody.
probably don't notice him.
Jumanji.
Now, this is a trick question.
Now, I think he's in the reboot of Jumanji. Isn't
That's right.
There you go.
Yep, they're making another one. Now, wait a minute. They're making another Jumanji?
It wasn't clear enough. It wasn't clear enough for the
What?
first one.
There were
Okay.
questions needing answers.
All right, this is easy. Ride Along. Was he
Oh,
in Ride
absolutely,
Along?
yeah,
Yes.
yeah.
How about Daddy's Home?
Daddy, so,
Mark Wahlberg, Will Ferrell.
Did he have a bit?
Oh.
A
part in it?
wackadoodle
Question.
part, yeah, wackadoodle kind of comedy. He does a lot of that.
I'm gonna say no.
And
say-
you'd be right.
Okay.
How about Best Man Holiday?
Absolutely, he's got to be.
Yes.
Yes.
No.
Oh, I thought he was in Think Like a Man
Right.
and The Best Man.
He wasn't. How about this
I don't know
one?
how this game works.
About Last Night.
Yes.
Oh yeah, the second
remake.
one. The second
The
one.
second one. I thought I'd trick you there with the remake.
It
Yeah,
was
they
a
did a
remake.
remake. Angry Birds.
No.
No, that's like Barinholtz.
I tried to trick you there.
All right.
But he's in so many of those kind of movies that it totally makes sense. How about this 9mm with Queen Latifah, directed by Chris Stokes?
Never heard of it.
Yeah, I don't know that one
Yes.
He is!
I don't know.
It's just like this
Well
really
done, Kurt.
gritty, like cop thing. Well, you'd get that because you're a cop.
Yeah. Or Chief.
How about
Chief, please. He's not
Chief.
police
Come on.
chief.
That's
Don't
right.
take me down.
God, what, you think he's walking the beat like a punk?
That's right. Come on.
Okay, Lieutenant.
It's all
Get Hard.
Ooh.
Yeah, well, yeah.
Yeah.
It's
All
in
right,
Will
and
Ferrell.
how about Captain Underpants?
Yes.
I'm gonna go with Kurt.
He is.
Ah,
it is
yes.
in pre-production. It's coming out in
Oh, okay.
2017. Something called Captain Underpants. Isn't that a little kid book or something?
It's
You
a
have
sequel to
kids.
Boner Police. It's a sequel. It's the sequel.
Tell us,
I'm glad
tell us,
somebody made
parent
this.
at the table, is Captain Underpants a child's property? Do we know?
Pretty much
think so.
every night. Every night is Captain Underpants.
And also, let's wish a very
same
happy
here,
birthday to Mr. Jim Gaffigan, who turns 50. He can play anywhere from pale to opaque. I have never heard about this guy until earlier this week. Paul and I were driving. I don't know. I was living in a shoe. We were driving somewhere for a long distance, and Paul said, "Let's put on some Jim Gaffigan." I'm absolutely addicted to the
Oh
man
yeah,
now.
he's easily.
Holy, his whole thing on McDonald's is right on. People act like you're like an idiot if you eat McDonald's, but everyone eats McDonald's. It's 30 million or something served.
Yeah.
I am no
Billion.
Fred Travelina.
You know? Who's that?
Rich Little. But I really want to get a Jim Gaffigan impersonation down because you could definitely do that.
That's possible.
Oh,
That
yeah,
is
because he has
possible.
those different little characters.
Here we
He's-
talking about it. It's the character who comments on his stand-up
Oh,
while he's
no.
doing it.
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't find that in good taste.
I love it. Here's a,
doing that.
why would you do that? Why eat at McDonald's?
He's got one. I was saying he's got one character who sounds like Garrison Keillor because he's like, I'll eat the fries without salt on them. You know, if I could do that, I could live anywhere. It's like I'm on Survivor. That's the whole thing.
Well, I was looking at his IMDb. It wasn't as wackadoodle as some, but here, Paul, pay attention to this quote. I thought this was fantastic. He says, "I think my wife is some kind of a secret weapon for my comedy. Without her, I certainly wouldn't be able to come up or be as successful as I am. In a way, I feel like I brainwashed her to my point of view, so she'll come up with the lines that are already great that I might have come up with later on. Every comedian deals with people coming up and saying, hey, what about this? That'd be funny. But 90% of the time it's not useful. But with my wife, 90% of the time it is."
He does praise her. I saw him on Larry King Now.
He
Don't
does,
judge me.
Paul. He praises his
He
wife.
praises his wife.
For
does
all
say
the
it.
good ideas
Says it
she comes up
right
with.
to her.
Paraded-
Right to
If she's
her.
near, if she's
came
near,
on
you
the
can
show.
do it.
And
You
on
can say it.
Facebook and stuff.
You just push it forward.
I think we
Listen.
established I'm having a law thing. I'm dealing, working out the last of my Valentine's Day card. Then I'll get that to you. It'll all be there in print.
Thank you. All right, now Lee, you know how, Bart, I don't even know who you are anymore. Bart, you know how much I like when celebrities sing.
This is true, Kurt. I don't know if this happens to you. It probably does.
Oh.
Every day somebody comes up to me
Every day.
and they say, tell me 2 interesting things about that Karen Volpe. And I say, well, the first thing I tell them is that Boner Police was her nickname in high school. And,
Really?
yeah.
Now that makes sense why she was really
It wasn't
looking at
laser
me like
fart.
that. No. Close second.
And then the second thing I tell
El
them about-
Dorco.
Yeah, it was El
We got to talk about
Dorco.
those.
the second thing I tell them is, of course, she loves when celebrities sing.
And I do, and I decided because Bart's back this week that we would celebrate en masse for him and bring in a little Anthony Edwards singing with the cruisiest,
Wow.
Mr. Tom Cruise.
Oh, yes.
You
Pick it
lost
up,
that loving feeling.
Halfway through when
that's nice.
Anthony kicks in.
Yeah.
No tenderness like before in your face.
You can see why I like it so much. It's fantastic.
Here come the Boner Police right now.
To show it, but baby, believe me, I know
Did you guys ever try this? Come on. You picking up chicks? Yeah.
No.
I remember I didn't see Top Gun, of course, and so I remember I was going on a band trip, and Dave Silliman and I think Dave Smith, I'm pretty sure it was these guys, I'll have to check on Facebook, they started
Let's say
singing
you're
this
right.
to one of the chaperones to embarrass the lady who was, like, I don't know, the lunch lady or whatever. And I didn't know what
Pull
they
the
were
Top
doing.
Gun on her?
Yeah.
And now,
I'm like, why are you
this
singing
week,
this?
you figured out what they were doing.
Yeah.
That's
it was,
right.
Actually, Karen,
now it's adorable. I didn't know what they were doing.
I've pulled a
Go
top.
back in time.
I've pulled a Top Gun on a girl, and it wasn't singing.
Movie